How frustrating have you found it over last year? Not having a date, not having an opponent, not having a target to work towards?
I mean, that isn't entirely accurate.
Okay.
Now, this is an exclusive coming live on TNT Sport. But there was a lot of times when the UFC would tell me, right, the Jon Jones fight is happening in 3 months, for example. So we'd start the training camp, the intensity would up, and then the date would get moved. Like that happened like 3 or 4 times, and then eventually he retired. So it wasn't like I was literally sat waiting for the full year. I did think that the fight was going to come. And then everyone's saying, oh, well, why are you waiting? Why are you waiting? I wasn't waiting. I was getting told that the fight was happening, so there's nothing I could really do. My hands were tied completely by the UFC. So
why do you think Jones retired and then came back to the testing pools so early?
I have a hard time believing that he would duck somebody because he's good. I don't think Tom Aspinall is that hard a matchup for him. When I lost in the Olympic semifinals were automatically wrestling for the bronze medal back then. I said to my coaches, I don't want to wrestle for third. I didn't come here for a bronze medal. I think that wrestling gets much easier when you get heavy. Everything, even MMA. Aljamain Sterling, I'll tell you this. You are a better fighter than I was. Problem is, you're in a harder weight class. Guess whose fault it was?
The commission.
Luke Rockhold. I'm like 5 over. And I tell Luke Rockhold, I go, I probably should get about 2 more pounds off before I leave. Luke had a girl lined up. He wants nothing more than to leave the gym. Everybody's like, no, you got to lose more weight. And I look at Luke and he's like, he's fine.
Tom Aspinall just dropped a massive bombshell about Jon Jones and Dana White, and it changes everything we thought we knew about their failed UFC showdown. For months, fans believed Aspinall was sitting around, waiting for Jones to make up his mind. But according to the heavyweight champion himself, that couldn't be further from the truth. In fact, he says the UFC repeatedly told him the fight was happening. He started full training camps, 3 or even 4 of them, only for the dates to get pushed back again and again until Jones finally retired.
Heavyweight division take the title away from him.
Jon Jones called us last night and retired. Jon Jones is officially retired. Tom Aspinall is the heavyweight champion of the UFC.
And now, Aspinall is finally setting the record straight. The heavyweight clash between Tom Aspinall and Jon Bones Jones was supposed to be one of the biggest fights in UFC history. Jones, widely regarded as the greatest fighter of all time, had moved up to heavyweight after years of dominance at light heavyweight. Aspinall, the rising British star, had quickly demolished contenders and became interim heavyweight champion after his victory over Sergey Pavlovich. In UFC terms, interim champion versus undisputed champion usually means one thing: a unification fight. It looked inevitable. Fans were hyped. The media buzzed with anticipation. And both men traded words in interviews and online, teasing that the showdown was around the corner. But behind the scenes, things weren't as simple as they seemed.
And I promise this is the only other thing I'll ask about it, but now it's become Jon versus Tom would be the biggest fight ever at the White House, and even Dana has talked about it, that would be the wish list.
Donald Trump mentioned that he wanted to have a fight at the White House, so I'm back.
Do you want me to be honest?
Please.
It has spent 0 seconds in my mind.
Okay. That's it.
That's it. I'm not interested, mate. Not interested. And the world shouldn't be interested either, because what's the point? It's just false hope.
What about just you at the White House? Forget about him. Does that interest you?
Not particularly. It doesn't not interest me. Really interest me, to be honest. I feel like the Americans should get the shot at the White House. Trump and the political stance in America doesn't really bother me at all, to be honest. So yeah, I'm not really like a big Trump supporter, or I'm not against Trump. Like, I don't know anything about American politics. I'm not American. I don't live there. I don't reside there. Really, all of that stuff just is irrelevant to me, to be honest with you.
In a new interview with TNT Sports, Aspinall revealed just how misleading the situation really was. Quoting him directly, everyone was saying, "Why are you waiting?" I wasn't waiting. I was getting told that the fight was happening. So there was nothing I could really do. My hands were completely tied by the UFC.
How frustrating have you found it over last year? Not having a date, not having an opponent, not having a target to work towards?
I mean, that isn't entirely accurate.
Okay.
Now, this is an exclusive coming live on TNT Sport. But there was a lot of times when the UFC would tell me, right, the Jon Jones fight is happening in 3 months, for example. So we'd start the training camp, the intensity would up, and then the date would get moved. Like that happened like 3 or 4 times, and then eventually he retired. So it wasn't like I was literally sat waiting for the full year. I did think that a fight was going to come. And then everyone's saying, oh, well, why are you waiting? Why are you waiting? I wasn't waiting. I was getting told that the fight was happening. So there's nothing I could really do. My hands were tied completely by the UFC. So
But is that not
Aspinall explained that UFC executives repeatedly gave him official fight dates. There were a lot of times the UFC would tell me, right, the Jon Jones fight is happening in 3 months. So we'd start the training camp, the intensity would go up, and then the date would get moved. That happened 3 or 4 times, and then eventually, he retired.
if you were just sitting out for a year?
it is. But what it has given me is it's given me a massive opportunity to get better.
Yeah.
Like, because I'm not just training without a goal. I did think I had a goal a few times that I'm working towards,
Right.
and it didn't materialize, is the word. It didn't materialize. So I did have the intensity of a training camp. I did have the hard sparring. I did have the hard rounds in the gym, the hard grapples, the strength and conditioning, the technical work, and all that stuff that you do for a training camp. So, mate, my improvement in the last year has been massive, and I just can't wait to go out there and show it.
There's pressure on you every fight you have. Are you feeling pressure for this one?
Mate, absolutely. Absolutely. But there's certain types of athletes, certain types of people, not just athletes. There's those that pressure wears them down, and there's those.
For those who don't know, a training camp isn't something fighters take lightly. It's 8 to 12 weeks of intense sparring, grappling, dieting, and strength work, all designed to peak on fight night. To go through that process multiple times with no payoff isn't just physically exhausting, it's mentally brutal, and Aspinall admits the whole saga took its toll. In the end, Jon Jones chose retirement instead of unification. That decision immediately elevated Tom Aspinall to undisputed heavyweight champion.
Right, everyone, the news has broken. I'm sure everybody's seen it. UFC undisputed heavyweight champion of the world. Moving forward, very, very important to me, just that I acknowledge everybody quickly who has supported me in this. I'm not going to say it was a tough time, but a bit of a challenging time over like the last kind of 10, 11 months that I have been inactive due to no fault of my own. But luckily, that is all behind us now. Massively appreciate the support from everybody. Massively appreciate the support going forward. I am going to keep this thing as active as possible. I want to be the best heavyweight ever to walk the face of the earth. I'm going to defend this thing as many times as I possibly can. I'm going to keep you guys entertained now. I'm going to really give back to everybody who has shown me support over the last year, over the last 5 years, over the last 10 years. Really appreciate the support and love from everybody. And we're going to see an active, defending UFC heavyweight undisputed champion going forward. Thank you guys, and I'll speak.
But for Aspinall, it wasn't a clean victory. It left the division in limbo for months. Fans wondered why he wasn't defending his interim belt. Critics claimed he was sitting on the sidelines, waiting for Jones. And all the while, he knew the truth, that he had been promised the fight, had trained for it, and had it ripped away each time. Now, instead of fighting Jones, Aspinall is preparing for his first title defense at UFC 321 against Ciryl Gane in Abu Dhabi. But here's where things get even crazier. Earlier this year, UFC President Dana White announced plans for a historic UFC event at the White House in 2026, with support from former President Donald Trump. Naturally, fans wondered, could this be the stage for Jones versus Aspinall?
Those who shine under pressure, and I am 100% part of the latter. But that being said, it's not just me who's under pressure. It's his third title shot, mate, and he failed the first 2. So yeah, there's definitely a lot of pressure on me, but there's also a lot of pressure on him. There's pressure on both of us. Every fight you go into, there's pressure. I can't speak for the rest of the fighters, but mate, I don't want to get skids in front of millions of people. That's the biggest pressure in me. I don't want to get battered in front of millions of people. No way about it. So to me, that's the biggest pressure. Titles, all rankings, statistics, all that aside, I don't want to get beat up in front of millions of people. So there's always pressure.
Jones himself hinted at a comeback, teasing fans that he'd love to headline the White House card. Even Dana White admitted his dream main event would be Jon Jones versus Tom Aspinall. But just as quickly, White backtracked, saying he couldn't trust Jones for such a historic event. And Aspinall wasn't interested either, calling the idea false hope. Not interested, mate. The world shouldn't be either. What's the point? Just false hope, Aspinall told Ariel Helwani. That response shocked fans who still held out hope. But from Aspinall's perspective, after everything he went through, it's understandable.
And I promise this is the only other thing I'll ask about it, but now it's become Jon versus Tom would be the biggest fight ever at the White House. And even Dana has talked about it, that would be the wish list.
Donald Trump mentioned that he wanted to have a fight at the White House, so I'm back.
Do you want me to be honest?
Please.
It has spent 0 seconds in my mind.
Okay. That's it.
That's it. I'm not interested, mate. Not interested. And the world shouldn't be interested either, because what's the point?
Adding more fuel to the fire, former UFC champion Daniel Cormier, who has a long and bitter rivalry with Jones, made an unpopular claim about the whole situation. According to Cormier, he doesn't believe Jon Jones ducked Aspinall. Instead, he argued that Aspinall might not have been the nightmare matchup fans were making him out to be. I have a hard time believing that Jones would duck somebody. He's just not necessarily interested in fighting the kid. I don't think Tom Aspinall is that hard a matchup for him, Cormier said.
Why do you think Jones retired and then came back to the testing pools so early?
I have a hard time believing that he would duck somebody because he's good. I don't think Tom Aspinall is that hard a matchup for him. When I lost in the Olympic semifinals were automatically wrestling for the bronze medal back then. I said to my coaches, I don't want to wrestle for third. I didn't come here for a bronze medal. I think that wrestling gets much easier when you get heavy. Everything, even MMA. Aljamain Sterling, I'll tell you this. You are a better fighter than I was. Problem is, you're in a harder weight class. Guess whose fault it was?
The commission.
Luke Rockhold. I'm like 5 over. And I tell Luke Rockhold, I go, I probably should get about 2 more pounds off before I leave. Luke had a girl lined up. He wants nothing more than to leave the gym. Everybody's like, no, you got to lose more weight. And I look at Luke and he's like, he's fine.
Cormier even floated a hilarious scenario. What if Ciryl Gane beats Aspinall at UFC 321 and Jones swoops back in from retirement to fight Gane instead? Would be hilarious. He would make $10 million to become heavyweight champion again. It's a bold take, and one that has divided fans. So where do things stand now? For Tom Aspinall, the focus is crystal clear. Defend his heavyweight belt against Ciryl Gane at UFC 321. A win there would cement his reign and silence any doubts left over from the Jon Jones saga.
I'd love him to have a very highly paid boxing match.
Last minute. Last minute.
UFC heavyweight champion Tom Aspinall has just dropped a massive bombshell about a potential life-changing career move that could see him walk away from MMA for boxing's mega money fights. In an explosive revelation that's sending shockwaves through the MMA community, Aspinall's own father has publicly backed his son's move to boxing, declaring on the champion's YouTube channel, "I'd love him to have a very highly paid boxing match for the money."
I'd love him to have a very highly paid boxing match.
And now, for the first time, Tom Aspinall himself has spoken out about those jaw-dropping $100 million boxing paydays that could change everything. Stay with us as we break down this developing story that could reshape the heavyweight landscape forever. Let's start with the comments that started it all. Andy Aspinall, father and longtime trainer of the UFC heavyweight champion, didn't hold back when discussing his son's financial future.
Say that?
Yeah, there's actually a lot of stories. Recently, there was a funny one. So, USADA came to the gym to test me. And it was like a weird kind of setup. So, I was sat like on a bench. So I was in the changing rooms, just pissed in like a cup, like because you got to piss in a cup and then like put it in different. It's weird. They make you like separate the piss. So I'm sat on this bench, and it's like the only bench in the changing rooms. And the guy next to me on the bench, he's writing the forms out that you got to write. And Till's like getting changed over behind the guy. So the guy's like kind of facing me and Till's kind of getting changed behind him. And till just completely naked, just kept walking over and asking him questions like over his shoulder, looking at, like he was just saying, "Oh, what is it you're writing there?" And he was completely naked, and the USADA guy had no idea that he was naked. And then he just kept coming over and asking questions. It was just funny, mate. It was just so funny.
Speaking directly on Tom's YouTube channel, Andy Aspinall made his position crystal clear. The money's there, and I don't see why somebody as talented as Tom shouldn't have a piece of that money when the boxers are getting 100 times more. More than 100 times more. But perhaps even more telling was his blunt assessment of UFC pay scales. The UFC ain't paying that type of money. If they would, it would be great and he could get the money, but I think these 1% of people who are very, very good should get paid.
If he's not bothered about the money, I'd love him to have a very highly paid boxing match for the money. You know, the money's there, and I don't see why somebody as talented as Tom shouldn't have a piece of that money when the boxers are getting 100 times more than 100 times more. The UFC isn't paying that type of money. If they would, it would be great, and he could get the money. But I think these 1% of people who are very, very good should get paid. You know, Tom's money, some people say it's good compared to a soccer player, an American footballer who we've talked to when we've been in America. He's earning a tiny fraction of what they're earning. And he's one of the best in the world at doing what he does and not getting paid.
This isn't just a father looking out for his son. Andy Aspinall has been training Tom since he was a young boy and understands better than anyone the financial realities facing even the most elite MMA fighters. When your own father and trainer is publicly advocating for a sport switch, that sends a powerful message about where the real money lies in combat sports. The timing of these comments is particularly significant, coming just as boxing continues to break pay-per-view and purse records worldwide.
And get away out the area, away from it, because I couldn't be around my son. Because nobody's going to look after him like I'd look after him. And I think I'm all right at doing what I've done. The people that we're with are very good, the sparring partners and the training partners. The people that they bring in can always add a little bit to what we're doing.
Now, for the first time since his father's explosive comments, Tom Aspinall himself has addressed the elephant in the room. In a recent interview with Bloody Elbow, the heavyweight champion didn't shy away from discussing those eye-watering boxing paydays. If we could all get paid more, not that I'm getting bad wages from the UFC, if you're talking about $100 million, that's a lot of money, Aspinall stated. But notice how carefully he framed his response, acknowledging he's not complaining about UFC pay while simultaneously recognizing the massive financial gap.
And something else for me personally, like, one of the reasons that I'm very successful with my style, and again, I don't want to give too much away, but because I'm very, very athletic for the size.
You are.
My balance is great. My agility is great. That is, as well as other things, but that is a big advantage that I've got in the heavyweight division.
What's particularly interesting is how Aspinall positioned this as bigger than just his personal gain. So I think it's good for everybody, not just me. It's good for everybody across combat sports. This suggests Aspinall sees boxing's mega money fights as rising tide that lifts all boats, potentially forcing MMA promotions to increase fighter pay to remain competitive. It's a diplomatic response, but one that clearly shows he's been thinking seriously about those 9-figure boxing opportunities.
Tom Aspinall, a guy you know very well. We spoke about him a little bit yesterday about how he's a great guy, but I wondered if you saw his last performance.
I did.
What did you think of it?
Magnificent. For me, he's the best heavyweight UFC fighter there is. Him and his father's come a long way, like me and Tyson's come a long way. And props to him. I've known him for a few years. They're beautiful people. He's a lovely young man, and he's got a great family. His dad's support is like mine, undeniable. You know, and he's just going to go from strength to strength. And you watch, when all this is over, we're all going to attend the big night when he fights for that big belt, and he's going to win it.
When you saw him train with you guys when he was a younger man, did he have the same sort of hand speed? Is that something you guys instilled in him? How have you seen his skills evolve over the years?
Well, a lot of people don't know he had one pro fight and he destroyed a man in the first round, you know, so Tom can fight. He's a good boxer as well, but, you know, the love of his life is what he does, and he's excelling in it, isn't he? You know, great performance, that fella he did that to. You know, nobody's done that to him before, and it was a quick finish, wasn't it? Spectacular.
It was great.
Well done, Tom.
Will you be there ringside when he fights for the title?
Absolutely.
Love it.
The question everyone's asking now, is this just wishful thinking, or is Tom Aspinall already laying the groundwork for a future boxing move? Despite the boxing speculation, Aspinall was quick to emphasize he's not abandoning the octagon anytime soon. When directly asked about a potential boxing move, his response was measured but revealing. "Not right now, to be honest," Aspinall told Bloody Elbow. "If I get to the stage where I have cleared out the division and I've got nowhere else to go, that's maybe something I'll look at." This timeline puts things in perspective. First up, Aspinall must defend his heavyweight title against Ciryl Gane at UFC 321 on October 25th. It's his first official defense as undisputed champion, and he's made it clear he wants to establish his legacy in MMA first. But here's what's interesting. Aspinall is only 31 years old. If he successfully defends his title a few more times and truly does clear out the heavyweight division, he could still be in his early 30s when he makes the jump to boxing. That's prime time for those massive boxing paydays.
I'm not the best boxer in the world. I'm not the best grappler in the world. I'm not the best wrestler in the world. I've not got the best fitness in the world. I'm not the strongest guy in the world. But put it all together, and as a collective, I do that as good as anybody.
The UFC has to be watching this situation carefully. Losing their heavyweight champion to boxing would be a devastating blow to the promotion's credibility and star power.
From our perspective, that's what happened genuinely.
Oh, listen, I swear to God, I'm the agent. And I was asking a journalist from Arena when you're talking, talk with Enter, talk with Dana. Never they has mentioned your name or any fan before Manchester. That's the first time July.
But you have to understand, for us, they did mention Cyryl's name before. Maybe not to you, but to us.
Well, no. Mention is like, do you want to fight him? They never even mentioned to me, I swear. Like, I can talk with any one of them.
I believe
so,
it.
So Ciryl was like, this is, I don't understand, because this
I
guy looks so good with me.
I'm only saying
now I don't understand what's
but from my perspective, it's the truth. I'm never going to start making up some lies. But from our perspective, we got offered it before Manchester, and then again in Manchester. And that's what I know. Cyryl's a good guy. I wouldn't say it for no reason. We're here to fight, man. We're going to fight, and it's going to be good.
You're either fighting Jon Jones or the next time you fight it's for undisputed against someone else.
That is correct.
Did you think that Alex Pereira losing to Magomed Ankalaev helped your case?
Yes. I would never celebrate anyone else who lost. That just really isn't my style, but it definitely helped.
Tom Aspinall has just sent a massive message that's reverberating through every corner of mixed martial arts. The UFC heavyweight champion has declared, "I won't quit UFC for boxing." And trust me, this statement is causing absolute chaos in the fight world. Tom Aspinall's bombshell announcement that shuts down boxing rumors once and for all, plus exclusive details from his candid interview that reveals the real story behind the Jon Jones controversy, his upcoming title defense, and why he's choosing UFC loyalty over boxing millions.
I'd love him to have a very highly paid boxing match.
Stay tuned, this gets explosive. Let's dive straight into the headline that's got everyone talking. While UFC superstars like Francis Ngannou, Conor McGregor, and Nate Diaz have all chased boxing paychecks, Tom Aspinall is taking a completely different path. In an exclusive statement, the British heavyweight champion made it crystal clear, "I won't leave UFC for boxing." But here's where it gets interesting. These rumors weren't just speculation, they were actually coming from his own camp. According to Aspinall himself, it was his father and head coach Andy Aspinall who was floating the boxing idea to the media, but Tom quickly shut that down, saying, quote, "That's my dad talking. I have no interest in joining boxing, and I don't want to leave the UFC anytime soon."
We'll try and balance the week out with a bit of everything. A bit of wrestling, a bit of jiu-jitsu, a bit of boxing.
If Tom's making mistakes, do you bring it up there and then, or do you
All
say
the time.
it afterwards?
No.
No.
Every day I'm on him.
Is that the best
Not
way for
on
someone?
him.
Is that the best way for someone to learn though, to stop them and then say, right, this is what we're trying to do? Or
They're all good here. Stan's just learning grappling, so break it down a bit more for Stan. But everybody else is always just a bit more than they already know. If I can do that.
This is huge news because it shows Aspinall's unwavering commitment to MMA at a time when boxing offers are reaching astronomical figures. His loyalty to the UFC, paired with his elite performances, is truly a breath of fresh air in a landscape increasingly dominated by spectacle over substance. Now, let's talk about the elephant in the room, the Jon Jones situation that led to Aspinall becoming champion and his brutally honest take on it.
Jon Jones, undisputed, disputed, interim, unification bout. It happened over the weekend. Dana White says he's retired. You were the undisputed champion. How are you feeling a few days after?
I mean, to be honest, I would have rather fought for it, of course. I did defend the interim, though, which is a weird thing as well. Yeah, to be honest, I always saw myself as a champion anyway. I think the whole Jon Jones thing was a bit weird. I think everybody can see that that was a bit of a strange situation. But luckily now that is in the past and we can move on, which is good.
Here's what really happened. Jon Jones, widely considered the GOAT of MMA, dominated his way to the heavyweight title by destroying Ciryl Gane and Stipe Miocic. But when Tom Aspinall emerged as the obvious next challenger, Jones wanted no part of it.
Should we get to this then? The big fight with Jon Jones. Like, they don't come bigger.
I remember I was in Vegas. We took this opportunity to be in Vegas to talk about my future with the matchmaker. He said, I don't know exactly what's happening. It's Jon Jones, Francis. And we said, okay, if you mean we are here. He said, yeah, but if you are here, it's this date. Don't have too much time to prepare us. We started directly the camp. For 1 month and a half, we did very well. For the ground game, for the defense, not going to be better than Jon Jones in 5 years. He was confident. He was comfortable, and boom, he was a bad man. I remember staying in the cage like, Lopez came directly to catch me here. It's like that. What do you want me to do? We're gonna go back to the gym. Let's go.
Jones dismissed Aspinall, saying, "Tom hasn't done anything impressive in my eyes. I don't feel that he deserves a shot. Remember, this is about a fighter who has finished every UFC opponent in less than 2 rounds." Then came the money demand. Jones asked for $30 million, what he called Deontay Wilder money, to fight Aspinall. Dana White initially said, no chance, but then actually found the money. And here's the kicker. Jones still refused and decided to retire instead.
If you defeat him, will you defend your belt against Aspinall, who has the interim title?
More than likely not. I feel like Tom Aspinall just hasn't proven anything. He hasn't done anything. If there were to be a fight of a guy that's still on our UFC roster, it would be Alex Pereira. And I think that fight would go much farther on my legacy than a young man who's cool today and maybe gone tomorrow. I've been gambling for way too long to just take random fights.
Aspinall's response to this whole situation, pure gold. He said, "I'd fight my own mother for $30 million. Jon is clearly in a financial situation where he can say no to that kind of money. At this point, I don't care about him anymore. He's permanently in my rearview mirror." That's the confidence of a true champion right there.
I will leave you with this. At the weigh-ins for the Dirty Boxing event this past Friday, the one in Miami, Jon Jones now, it has been announced as a part owner. There was a bit of a chant in attendance. You know we love the Tommy Aspinall chant. Here's Jon reacting to a chant at the weigh-ins.
I like that one.
You're on his mind there, Tommy. You see that? You're on his mind.
He looks a bit uncomfortable there. He looks a bit awkward.
You know what? He's right. You are an asshole, Tom. You are an asshole for that response.
I'm just being. I mean, everyone's an asshole sometimes, especially me. So I don't take offense to it. But yeah, he did look a bit uncomfortable to me. He looks a bit awkward.
Oh God.
Behind the tough exterior, Tom Aspinall has shown incredible vulnerability and emotion throughout his journey, and these moments reveal the heart of a true fighter. There's a viral video from a few years back where Aspinall breaks down in tears after winning a $50,000 bonus. When asked about it, his response was incredibly touching. "I knew that if I won a bonus, I could buy a house. I have 3 children and a wife, and buying us all a house has been my goal for a long time."
You got performance of the night.
Oh, did? Yippee! Yes. Did I really? Oh.
These moments show us that behind the devastating knockout power and championship belt, Tom Aspinall is a family man who genuinely cares about the people around him. It's this combination of killer instinct and human compassion that makes him such a compelling champion. All roads now lead to UFC 321 in Abu Dhabi on October 26th, where Aspinall will make his first title defense against former interim champion Ciryl Gane. This fight has serious implications. Gane was demolished by Jon Jones in under 2 minutes back in 2023, which led some to question if Aspinall felt pressure to finish him even quicker. His response: absolutely not. Every fight is different, and this fight has been simmering for some time. The buildup got heated in Paris, where Aspinall was heavily booed by French fans supporting their hometown hero. But the British champion brushed it off. Just loads of French people screaming for Ciryl, which was to be expected. I ain't bothered. It's like a circus, isn't it? With Aspinall's incredible streak of first-round finishes and Gane's technical striking skills, this promises to be an absolute barn-burner that could define the heavyweight division's future. Looking ahead, Tom Aspinall represents something special in the heavyweight division. At just 31 years old, he's already run through most of the top contenders, and veterans like Marcin Tybura, who felt Aspinall's power firsthand, believe he'll reign for a long time. Tybura recently stated, "I don't see anyone beating Tom Aspinall. I think Tom will stay on the throne for a while." What makes Aspinall different is his combination of devastating finishing ability, technical skill, and most importantly, his commitment to the sport. While others chase boxing money, he's focused on building a legacy in MMA. As the third British UFC champion ever, joining Michael Bisping and Leon Edwards, Aspinall carries the hopes of an entire nation while representing the future of heavyweight mixed martial arts. So there you have it. Tom Aspinall's definitive statement that he's here to stay in the UFC, combined with his incredible journey from house-buying bonuses to heavyweight championship gold, his loyalty to MMA, his devastating skills, and his refusal to chase easy boxing money make him exactly the kind of champion the sport needs right now. October 26th in Abu Dhabi can't come soon enough. What do you think about Aspinall's decision to stay in the UFC? Do you believe he can defend his title against Ciryl Gane? Drop your predictions in the comments below, smash that subscribe button, and hit the notification bell so you never miss our breaking MMA news. And this has been MMA Breaking News. We'll see you next time for more exclusive coverage from inside the octagon.
Gun to my head, I would have said Jon Jones will beat him right now. Guess what? Tom has never been pushed into those championship rounds. Once he gets to those championship rounds, even now, say Ciryl Gane pushes him 25 minutes. If he beats Ciryl Gane, but he learns to go 25 minutes where that first time you feel that, yo, Tom hasn't gotten off the stool for a third round.
We saw that Francis Ngannou, Stipe.
Exactly. Francis, when he fought Stipe and he went to try to knock him out, by the middle of the fight, Francis looking like he saw a ghost. You needed to fight Tom now when he doesn't have that experience,
where he's
especially as Jon Jones.
People don't understand how effective
it's
exhausting that is when you come to thump.
You want to fight, but I'm just grabbing you.
So I'm not ducking Tom Aspinall. If I failed to fight Stipe, I would be ducking Stipe because we contractually have been signed up to fight over a year ago. This is Stipe's position. The Tom narrative came out of nowhere. He won a belt, and now suddenly I'm ducking him. I've never had negotiations to even fight him, if this makes sense. So the fans are just ignoring it. They're ignoring all logic, and they just have finally found someone that they think can compete with me, and everyone wants to see it now.
Daniel Cormier has just sent a clear warning message to Tom Aspinall about Jon Jones. And trust me, you're going to want to hear every word of this breakdown. We're also diving into Jones's surprising announcement about re-entering the testing pool and what this could mean for a potential White House fight. So buckle up, because this story has more twists than a Jon Jones spinning elbow. Let's get into it. All right, let's cut straight to the chase. Daniel Cormier just dropped a bombshell on his Pound for Pound podcast, and it's not what you'd expect from someone who's been pushing for Jon Jones to fight Tom Aspinall.
What do you think about DC saying he would have already fought Tom? I don't think much about it, but I really do want to fight Tom Aspinall. I just want to meet him here at Dirty Boxing. So he has to come to a Dirty Boxing event for him to get the fight? No, we'll fight here at Dirty Boxing. You'll fight at Dirty Boxing. I like that. All right, John.
Despite being one of the loudest voices calling for Jones to stop ducking Aspinall, Cormier just admitted something that might shock you. He actually believes Jones would have beaten the interim champion. Here's the exact quote that's got everyone talking. "Gun to my head, I would have said Jon beats Aspinall right now."
Since the fight will never happen, gun to my head, I would have said Jon Jones will beat him right now. I would have said he'll probably beat him right now, because guess why? Tom has never been pushed into those championship rounds. But if Tom gets to those once he gets to those championship rounds, even now, say Ciryl Gane pushes him 25 minutes, and if he beats Ciryl Gane, but he learns to go 25 minutes where that first time you feel that, I got to get up off that stool after the third round. Yo, Tom hasn't gotten off the stool for a third round. You needed to fight Tom now.